Good afternoon from Clydeshire. I'm out here in the Brussels field and I just wanted to give a brief tutorial on something that I do which really helps the Brussels to size up. Let me show you. What I'm doing is called topping, and basically what it involves is taking the growth tip out of the Brussels so that they stop growing up, and in the remaining time left to us, which here in Wisconsin is not long, the Brussels devotes its energy into the growth of the little nubs that form, the part of the Brussels that we really want. You can see that the nubs are already forming on this plant. There are a lot of them. They're not particularly large yet because the plant is spending its energy growing. If I take apart these leaves here, you can see that all those little leaves are going to form and the stem's going to keep growing. The plant is already over 3 feet tall, but it would just keep growing, and then the plant would be surprised by the cold weather which is starting about right now, and simply would grow more slowly. Wouldn't stop growing, it would just grow more slowly. So what you do is you take that growth part off just with a little twist like that, not harming the plant, and that will heal, and whatever energy the plant has in the coolness of our September and October here will go into making those nubs bigger. What I'm doing to the Brussels over here is pretty much what you'd never do over here in the kale, where similarly, those nice tender leaves there that you see, if you harm that, you'll have a useless kale plant because you'll have harvested the leaves and no new leaves will form. But the kale similarly just keeps growing up. It's just that you're harvesting the leaves, so you're harvesting the leaves on the bottom and letting the new leaves form on top until it looks a bit like a palm tree. Let me show you all my palm trees and the more harvested plants. Over past this overgrown row, we have a few rows that have been harvested recently, and you can see how these plants have the stalks, and as you harvest, the stalk just keeps growing, and well, maybe we'll get one more harvest out of these yet. All depends what the weather is like. So it's kind of a reverse situation here in the Brussels sprouts because we're not harvesting from the top, and therefore we cut the top off and let the bottom grow in whatever time is remaining. Now, if you go online and type in topping Brussels or something like that, I've seen comments from people who say, oh, I never top my Brussels and my Brussels get big. And I have a hard time figuring that one out. I guess my theory is that maybe in warmer regions, unlike here in the Midwest where the growing season keeps going and you can harvest brassicas even all through the winter, maybe the plant has enough energy in the lengthy growing season that not only can it grow to its full height, but also form nice large buds. But here in Wisconsin, come September, which it now is, things start to slow down. And, you know, once we have a few hard frosts in late October, early November, growth stops. Growth stops. The brassicas can be harvested some years all the way through to December, but, you know, that's just, that's just harvesting something that can stand being out in the field, not something that's growing more. So in short, our season is shorter, and we're helping the plant to utilize the little time that's left to form the buds, because otherwise, surprise, surprise, the plant may have spent all its energy growing tall, and then the season comes to an end and there's no more time to grow the buds that we want to eat. Now, when to do this? It's a good question. It all depends on the year. In a warmer year, you can wait a little longer. In a cooler year, you want to do it a little sooner. Last year I did it September 20th and things worked out well. It's currently September 24th, so I figured I'd better get out here even if I'm getting a little wet. You know, you have to leave enough time for those buds to form. So you're looking at maybe a month and a half of extra growth time, and September 24th to October 24th, that puts us about at mid-November, where I figure we're pretty much at the end of the line. So I'm a little late, but I'm hoping and praying not too late. Just a simple twist. Why, hello. Somehow I don't think you belong. We try to be accepting here on the farm, but somehow I think this kale, which is self-identifying as a Brussels sprout, just won't do what it's supposed to do if I top it. I think I'll just leave that one alone. And that is really about all there is to it. I mean, I've topped these Brussels. They will do their thing. We have a dry stretch coming up. I will probably also spray them once with Dipel, which is a bacterium which is completely harmless to humans, but is toxic to a lot of the worms who would like to eat the buds as they develop. And if I can get a dry stretch in there where a bunch of the eggs hatch and these worms take a bite and die, I'll break the cycle and I'll be able to leave these out here in the field and not worry about increased bug damage for having done so. But really, that is all there is to Brussels sprouts. You put them in the ground, you make sure that in the midst of the weeds they are not out-competed. You top them 45 days before harvest, and you give them a little assist if you're going to leave them in the field so they don't get too much bug damage. Not too complicated. I love Brussels. I love to eat them, and I really do enjoy growing them as well. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless from all of us here on the farm. Subscribe, follow along.